Hi, I'm Ceci Sparrow from the Frontline. I'm the social media manager, and this is the Leslie Mack.
Hey everyone, Leslie Mack here. I'm the communications director for the Frontline. We're so excited to have this small conversation today around a series of videos that the Frontline put together for the month of June that we lovingly refer to as Everyday Blackness. And it's been such a pleasure to develop this project. And we wanted to talk a little bit about how it came to be and kind of what was the idea behind these really great personal stories that we've been able to share over June. The genesis of this idea and why we wanted to call it Everyday Blackness was because too often in America, Black life exists only at the extremes, either really public triumph or very public pain. And we don't get to see or witness those in-between periods where we're just living our lives and being our full Black selves in the world. And this is not to diminish the stories of us overcoming systems that seek to hold us down. Those stories are always worthwhile to tell. But we also know that progress can be found in the quiet moments, right? In the cultural shifts that occur in intimate interactions between Black people and how our lives are affected by the generations that came before us and those that come after. And so that's really kind of some base level understanding around what we wanted to bring. So Ceci, can you talk a little bit about the genesis of this? Because this really was your baby, your idea. What were you thinking about when you were like, I want to record folk stories? What was that about?
Well, I had stumbled across I can't remember the publication right now, but I had stumbled across the video of folks talking about driving through these sundown towns. And they were talking specifically, obviously sundown towns is still a thing today, quiet as it's kept. Obviously today, Black people live in a certain way to be defensive and protective of ourselves. But what got me was this one story of, it was a couple. They were sitting talking about how they had to make sure that when they were preparing and they had enough money to make their journey from home to wherever they were going to end up, that they had small bills, because if you needed to fill up your gas tank and you gave the gas attendant a 20, there was no guarantee that you would get your change back. And I just thought about that, of all the things you had to think about. Well, we can't go here because they don't serve Black people, so we have to bring our own food. We have to pack our food in a way so that it remains fresh. We have to make sure that we have containers, in case you have to go to the bathroom, because not all places you stop at allow Black people to use the restroom. And then down to the money.
To the money.
Because who are you going to call?
Yeah, I was going to say, if they take your money, there's no recourse for you, right? There's nothing you can do in that moment.
And you can lose your life, fight, argue, or whatever. Your life could be taken. Your family can be impacted because of a petty crime, more or less, So I started thinking about that. And I started thinking about, all of the stories we don't know, all the stories that we may hear verbally, or we may know because we know families in our neighborhood or in our circles. But what about our other friends' stories? Just the fact that it's kind of very precious to see photographs of people's great-grandparents, the very rare thing to come across on Facebook. If you have friends on Facebook and you see photos that someone shares of their great-grandparents, or even sometimes their grandparents, more than one photo of their grandparents, depending on the age group. So I started, I talked to you about it, and then we were like, let's come up with something. And then I started asking my friends list, people that I thought might be interested, people I thought might contribute, people that we share some friends also that I think are very interesting, the things that they're into or what they're sharing about their lives on Facebook. And I just started asking them, would you be interested in this project? This is what we want to do. And the stories they shared, the personal testimony that they shared just was mind blowing. Talking to Latoya about, I had spoken to her before, she's highly creative, and talking to her about her inspiration. And she spoke about her dad and how her dad was always inspired by Black women. He loves Black women, and how he didn't share his paintings, his art, because of the negativity that he'd been receiving his whole life, and how he just kept that for himself. And, the impact of that, like to not share your talent because all your life, the feedback you've received has been negative, who loses because of that? A lot of people lose. You're an inspiration to your family, but what about the other people that failed to be inspired by you because you have received so much negativity that you're afraid to show people how great you are? It's just crazy. And
That's so true. It's funny you mentioned the picture thing, and we found a picture of my grandmother this year I had never seen in my life before, and I recognize now I became obsessed with the photo. I hadn't seen a photo of her at this age. So I've seen photos of her as a child. I've seen some photos of her as a young girl, and then when she got married, right, and beyond as an adult. This was her teen years. I had never seen her as this, young woman, and I just became obsessed with the photo. I was just looking at it all the time. I had it as my home screen, and she's no longer with us, and so it was this, for me, it was this pain of wow, if I'd had this photo when she was alive, I would have asked her more about this time period in her life. It would have been an entree to say, oh, where was this taken? All of those kinds of things. And so, especially after the year we're coming off of, being separated from our folks for so long, for so many of us, and losing so many of our elders, and continuing to, through the coronavirus pandemic and the COVID pandemic, I thought this was particularly poignant to be able to have these conversations and talk with people about their memories of folks, their the things that made their family unique, the things that made them interested. And when I recorded with my family, responses to these questions, the thing that I was struck by is my sisters in particular. They were like, it was clear no one had ever asked them these kinds of questions before, even their own children. And so it was great to kind of even see after we were done filming, the conversation continued. We were still talking about memories and different things. And the girls had more questions for us about some of the stuff that we brought up on the video. And it was a beautiful moment. And I thought to myself, this shouldn't be an anomaly for us. This should be something we incorporate into the time we spend together as a family, whenever and however that is, because the only folks that are going to hold on to our stories are us.
Right.
These systems don't care about us. There's no, obviously we have amazing Black historians, but on the whole, that's not who's telling the stories of everyday people. And so that's what I really loved about it.
And it should be recorded. It should be something that we archive and we hold on to, because so much of our history is lost. Yep. So many stories we don't know, and I think for me, that was the part where, I had thought about just getting the stories and then recording them. And now they're just so precious, and, giving them back to the folks that contributed. Thanks so much to the people who contributed.
Yes. I mean, that's our real reason for doing this video. We obviously wanted to set the stage and have this conversation, but also, to give our heartfelt thanks to everybody who sat down with Ceci, who agreed to open up their hearts and their family stories to us. It was such a precious gift that you gave us, and we hope we were able to do your words, your stories, and your history justice with the project. I suspect we'll be continuing to tell these kinds of stories because it's this work is bigger than just the the check marks and the wins and losses. It's really about connection for so many of us that are in movement spaces. And I know our parent orgs are really big on that. Shout out to WFP and Rising Majority, United We Dream, and then Movement for Black Lives. All of those movement ecosystems are so much about storytelling, about narrative, about connection between people. So this is really an extension of all of that work that we get to live in and support and amplify. So just really grateful for the opportunity. And thank you, Ceci, for, being bold enough to have this great idea and, to work with me, and shout out to Jennifer from Creative Devs, who helped actually edit all the videos together to bring this to life and bring it to life in such a beautiful way. It's been amazing to see. I've been so excited because I purposely didn't watch any of the videos until you put them up, because I really wanted to experience it when you put them up. And it was such a beautiful thing during this month of June. One of the reasons why we chose June was because Juneteenth is always like, it's become this like very commoditized thing this year. And I really was not wanting to contribute to that kind of activity this month. And this was kind of our way to say, yes, we're honoring Black people, we're honoring Black history, we're honoring Blackness, but we're not doing it in a performative way, and really trying to lift up these stories that people have held so dear to them, and honoring that. So that's been really wonderful to see as well.
Yeah, most definitely. Yep. So thank you, everyone. Do you want me to do the names?
Yes, let's go.
Thank you so much, of course, to the lovely Leslie Mack. And Leslie has a gorgeous family. Find the video. The video is really adorable, with the nieces asking the parents questions. Is really, really cute. Also, my good friend, Ed Bowleg. We have Maritza. We have LsShonda, Latoya, Tai Few. Erley has a hilarious story about her grandmother snatching her bald. We always have that story of when the one family member gets a hold of your hair.
Which is another thing, because I in watching the videos, I was like, oh, that felt real familiar. Like, that was another thing about all of the different stories. Yes, they're unique, but also there's a, that's why we are part of a diaspora, right? This culture that we call Blackness. And it was great to, kind of have touch and agree moments with each of the videos as well. So great. I'm like, oh, I remember when that happened to me, or that we had that type of experience as well, kind of thing. And I really love that too.
Yep. And then we have the lovely Tasha Marie Harris, who actually, hers was the second one I recorded. And her cousin, Brett, who I actually worked with a million years ago, was one of the first people to respond. And he led me to her Facebook page. She has incredible photos of her family. She's been the Oprah of her family she was like a tiny kid. Like, I think since she was about 8 years old, she's been the Oprah of her family, interviewing everyone, asking all kinds of questions. And that has led to an amazing library of photos and history. And she's now pretty much her family historian, and contributed a tremendous amount to this project just by sharing her story with me, and how she's used her family history as self-care. Believe it or not. So thank you to her. And did I miss anybody? I don't think I missed anyone. Oh, Dale. Dale.
Oh, Dale. Don't forget Dale. That's right.
Yeah. Oh my God, it'll kill me. My friend Dale shared an amazing story about his family and their relationship with HBCUs. And that was really very entertaining, very interesting, and incredible. His grandmother is incredible. After she raised all of her kids and him, she went back to high school, finished high school, took herself to college, and her youngest son was one of her professors. Insane.
Wow.
Yeah.
The world is huge and the world is small, all at the same time. Wow, that's amazing.
Yep. So we have a playlist on all of our channels. I will be posting a thread on Twitter where everyone can find these videos all together. And thank you. Thank you for believing in me, Leslie.
Always. Thanks, y'all, for listening. And again, just our heartfelt thanks to everybody that participated in the project. And you never know, you might be the next one we call to record your video. Yes, be on the lookout. Bye, everybody.
Bye.